Elaborate. Nobody else does this. Where the Southern Conference, which I see as an emerging conference here, Tri-City Sports Now, Marky Billson with you here on 1420 WEMB Sports Radio. Listen to us on jetbroadcasting.live or on archive on Facebook Live. But SoCon John Hooper joins me here, and of course he's a becomes a trickle-down effect, and you start to wonder, how would that affect the Southern Conference? Now, the first thing, I know you're an Appalachian State grad here, SoCon John Hooper, so I see the list of teams that they could take, and one of them is Appalachian State. If the American decides to take on a school with the loss of Connecticut, could you see it being Appalachian State?
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be because I think that obviously that would be a better conference football-wise for Appalachian State. Basketball-wise, it would be much tougher than Sunbelt, but yeah, I think it makes sense. That conference is kind of all over the country. Wichita State obviously made a move to that country.
Sure.
It's an interesting conference, and I think there's a good mix of good basketball schools as well as some up-and-coming football schools. And so I think that's one unique thing about that conference is they have kind of the best of both worlds, I think, as far as when you talk about going back to Wichita State and their tradition, you look at Temple and their tradition at basketball. I think that if you take Appalachian State's football tradition and put it in that conference, I think that makes a lot of sense to me. And they're trying to build from both sides now. Perhaps that helps Appalachian State basketball-wise, I'm not sure, but it will definitely put a different viewpoint on recruiting because it'll make it more of a national program when you start to take into account how many different parts of the country are represented in the American Conference.
Well, I saw they're getting Appalachian State is recruiting a quarterback from IMG by way of Compton, California. So they have not actually had a player from the Tri-Cities since leaving the Southern Conference. I don't know what that says about the talent in the Tri-Cities in high school football, but nevertheless. Still, though, I guess the thing, this is officially UConn hasn't left yet, although I was at the NSMA event in Winston-Salem. I was talking to their beat writer, and he's like, this is a done deal. This is don't worry about, and all that. Yeah, they're going to let football out to dry. The hope is that enough Syracuses and Boston colleges and Armies and all those guys will play Connecticut that they'll never really miss, the American. That's the hope. Anyway, but what I wanted to ask you, though, is a few things. And this comes to trickle down. Appalachian State, a local team and a former Southern Conference team, and we'll get to how this could affect the SoCon if this does happen here in a bit. But I got to ask this. How do you get to Boone? I know the roads. I drove through there yesterday. But what airport do they fly out of? I suddenly realized I didn't know that because there's no airport in Boone. How do you get to Boone from Houston?
You fly to Charlotte and then bus to Appalachian State, which is about an hour and 15 minutes away. So that would be probably... There is an airport that some teams fly into in Hickory, which is also about 45 minutes to, I guess, maybe an hour away from Boone. But there's no easy way to get there.
Man.
From out of town, from a long way. And I think that was part of the reason, and we talked about this before, but when Appalachian initially left the Southern Conference, there was some talk that, possibly they would be an attractive school to maybe Conference USA. Mm-hmm. Now, I think that was probably more the administration trying to put that out there, but in a way, market. I guess you could draw Charlotte in there some way, but I think that more so it was just so hard to get to Boone for a lot of the Conference USA teams that it made more sense to choose. I guess it was Charlotte at the time. I think that there were several other schools that were looking at it, and the thing about that part of while Appalachian State obviously has a better tradition than Charlotte, while they have they might not have quite the prestige of maybe the East Carolina yet, but certainly they would be maybe on even ground, most even ground with East Carolina, but
Yeah.
but those schools were more attractive for like you said, market. Look at Old Dominion; they were just a startup program in FCS and really really did well, and then moved up to the next level, and now they're in a more prestigious conference than Appalachian State.
Well, it's one of the. I was going to say, yeah, I agree with you there. It's one of the things that I saw, and if this were to occur, and see, this is what we were all talking about at the NS in Winston-Salem yesterday, and in fact, even what is the best football school in North Carolina? I said NC State, and a lot of people said Appalachian, and a lot of others said East Carolina, which, that sort of surprised me, to tell you the truth. I mean, aren't you going ACC there? Anyway, what I'm looking at here, these are some of the teams that talked about as potential replacements. If you absolutely wanted to go TV market, Army, although, that it would be for football only and blah, blah, blah. Some others said Air Force. Brand name of football, Boise State or BYU. You could raid Conference USA was the idea. And so one of the things that I said is because of the travel. Appalachian State or Charlotte, if they're both in the Charlotte TV market, why not go to Charlotte? Why not just take, University of Charlotte? Hey, I mean, why not? Old Dominion, as you said. Some people had said North Texas. Florida International gives you Miami. Florida Atlantic gives you West Palm Beach, which isn't quite the same market. Buffalo, I just don't see that.
What's odd is South Florida program that there was a startup program back in the late 90s, I think, 1998, and they've sort of they're in a more prestigious conference than Appalachian State, who they've had a tradition of winning since the early 80s. So, and so it's a lot about markets, I think. I guess South Florida is Tampa area in there. And a lot of those Florida schools, Florida International has been successful now. Florida Atlantic's successful. So it's just there are a lot more.
Yeah.
Money.
Well, the school, believe it or not, that I think they might go with, if it breaks, I mean, they could say, hey, Wichita State, you want to start up football again. There's been a movement there for that. I don't think it's been as strong as what ETSU had, and I was a part of, but it's been there. Georgia State, you get the TV market in Atlanta, and
school in the state of Georgia, right?
Yeah, it's going to be the biggest school in Georgia. They're going to have the facilities. They're going to play in Old Turner Field. Their football, the practice facilities are state of the art. I know they're 2-10 last year, but you're replacing a 1-11 football team. I would think Georgia State would be on the way up. They always had no 0-2 count on them because they started FCS and then immediately went FBS. They really did. I found out actually yesterday when their first season, when Georgia State played Alabama, sort of that's a game that Bill Curry got. They actually, usually you get $500,000 for that game. Georgia State got $2.5 million.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's or at least that's what was being said among the sportscasters I talked to. It could happen with Appalachia if it goes that way. I mean, I think they'd be a viable candidate, but I do remember what Mickey Fufari used to tell me. He's a long-time beat writer up in West Virginia, covered the Mountaineers since the beginning of time, and recently passed away. And the day that Pitt got accepted over West Virginia to the ACC, I was in that locker room, and he said, West Virginia wanted to join the ACC in '53, and they wouldn't take us because we were too tough to get to in Morgantown. Now they still won't. That's what Appalachian State's against. We'll continue this conversation after this.
For Hood Ford.